My name is Tahir Khan, better known as Stryker. Today is the 2nd of July, and I will walk through some of the important levels that I deem necessary, important that might be coming in for this NFP. And depending on the numbers, how they come out, what we can expect on few pairs, and what we can do in regard to taking a trade, safer setup. So I'll start out with everybody's favorite euro, and what I want to show you here is basically the importance are here is the trend lines are here, the black one, the T1 and the T2. Uh, this pretty much makes up the bear flag. We've spoken about that last time also, and the price is still pretty much, you know, swinging around between the same thing. So what I have is that median placed in between this channel, and what I expect is that it to get tested almost did earlier, and the level it comes in is about 1.1025, or let's say 20-ish. So depending on the number when it comes in, any spike down here, and if this area starts holding, there's a higher chance that the price will go back and test back to the higher side. Basically, it's rejecting move down. Otherwise, if it gets underneath to this level out here, I would expect the price to take down, at least come close to these lows, 109.40. That's what I had. That's what I have. And underneath to that could be going all the way to test the base of the bear flag, or 1.07. The number to watch are here. The level to watch is right around 1.1010 So 4 or an 8 hour close underneath or higher to it, that would matter for a euro. In case if it drops in, I have 109.40-ish as in first important level, just coming just underneath to this level. Let me show you back again. Hold on. I have to go out. Come back. Yep. This one right here. So that's mean basically this is the median. That means, below to it, I expect price to reach to the lower side. Staying higher to it, we can expect the price to go back and probably test the bear flag top again. That probably comes in around 1560, 1518, or by the time it comes to it, probably about 1600 handle. So as of right now, I'm looking in for a spike lower, a bounce, then it's a play for the long side. Breaks under, then at least continue down to 109.40-ish. And if it closes between T4 and T5, I would gear up to the bearishness on euro, because from being under to it, there's a high chance that it might just break down T5 and continue eventually all the way to the base of the bear flag. So that's been said and done on the support and what to look for. On the higher side, basically the price is already broken down in a wedge, and the good assumption on that in terms of a trade was I broke, came back, retested, and getting falter again, and uh, looking to go and test on the lower side. But if it shoots on the higher side, then 1.1175, or the last peak high, again it comes in as a significant, shows that it's a significant resistance, and I will look for a close higher to that to probably go and start looking for the higher side, probably towards 1325, 1330. Maybe not today all the way there, but by Friday, or if US been off, if we have a low volume on Friday, then I would expect somewhere on Monday it might come and play around this. So basically 11 right around close to this lows, that would be my first instant. Look for a spike on NFP, and if it gets a bounce in, then I'll be more inclined to take it long towards 1175. Otherwise, people who are already short, and I know a lot of them are, once it breaks under 11, sorry, 1.1020-ish, I think best is to hold on to it and wait for 109.40-ish break to take it down another 250 pips on the lower side. Uh, these are the best guesses, not the actual plays. It would have been a different story if we did not have NFP. Then definitely short here and definitely be waiting for 107, and just wanted to see if you can get it close on there to the median that I just discussed earlier. So it becomes quite easier in terms of NFP. Just get a spike here or maybe spike here. If it comes down, spike on the higher side and then start faltering, this become my short side. So when it's been an NFP, it's always good to go and look at the dollar and what dollar is also talking about. So we're gonna go and I use this. This has been posted on a few forums on LinkedIn, other places also. I've been looking at this breakout zone here, and again, this has another breakout zone that I think does matter. This black trend line. Today, been NFP again, and the number comes in. Even not just the numbers, I think with the rate high expectation and probably just looking into where there's going to be gradual increase on the increase on the rate hikes, that would probably prompt buying on the dollar. And if we can get it close higher to this trend line out here, I think that's a strong case of dollar bullishness. And coming down here again, the same thing. It's just a break, retest, bounce, and trap within this channel. And today it's got a very good chance to probably break it out of it. So if it does or it does not, we'll find out. And to tackle more on that, on the dollar, I think I shared this on my last time on the webinar. We were able to get being able to identify this mark that this is a place where we can probably go for a bounce. We eventually did, got a good decent retrace down and coming back up. So if the 8 hours and the 4 hour gets broken up, then I would assume that it'll just be a matter of time before we break higher to this also and proceed down for a newer higher. Uh, that would be front two, could be third attempt out here coming down somewhere around 12,200. So it would be more like break, bounce, drop, retest, and probably continue on the higher side. So that's a view on the dollar that looks bullish, that to an extent telling that the break on the euro is, can be seen and can be seen most probably today. But we'll find out eventually. Another good assumption would be to go with the Swiss. Again, I think this chart was on display on the last NFP also. This was the channel that we were discussing, and then this was a zone that where I was expecting a bounce because I did hint that we have a 3 bounce already to the same side, and it's likely that we're going to get a bounce off from here. So we broke out, we came back testing, and finally, as of yesterday, we broke out of it. So comes NFP, even if I don't have a dollar chart, if I don't have if I don't have any other charts, and I'm trying to guess myself off for what to do with the dollar. So my expectation are upon this break, the price to go on the higher side, but as with every breakout, every break, I do expect it to top off somewhere and probably come back and making a retest to 94 or around to this trend line. And if it gets rejected and gets a bounce up, that's the best time to buy on this pair. That's been, if probably it's too high for me to buy. Maybe I'll look for, who knows, 15 minutes later we might get it spiked down here, and if it just holds down here and gets a bounce back up, then I know it's going to go in for a higher than this. So that would prompt that dollar is getting after initial spike on the lower side on the dollar, and dollar might be just be boosting up. So the chances of bullishness on dollar is considerably high. And one of the major points that I'll be using today will be Swiss franc, whether it gets under to it or stays higher to it. Higher to it, that's bullishness to me for euro. Canadian pound Canadian, it's already done the trick. We actually we traded this pair. Uh, we short it right here, and the minimum we were looking before prior to NFP, we have already done it. But again, nevertheless, I'm just, it's still an active play. It's still a good resistance. Uh, 97, I'll say anything between, as long as the price can stay between 97, 30, 40-ish. This is, we can still sell it because apparently it can, or it most likely it should come back testing at least around to this zone. So there's a short-term play where the price below 97, 35, 40, it's most likely to go and make a test run for 95, 78. So there's enough point to grapple around here, and let's see if in the next 30 minutes we get a spike on the higher side to get a short back in, but our short play was simple. Out to testing this trend line out here need to be also, we've been out, so had it been a different story when we did not have an NFP, probably we would have waited down for more marks out here. But apparently it's still a flow, it's still a go, sorry, it's still a go, and maybe another move towards 97.25, 97.30ish. This might be a good shorting point again and try back for 95.70. So that's about roughly about 150, 170 pips out there. And UJ is another setup that I'm looking for. And I know anything goes when it comes down to NFP. But looking at the price being traveled in, slowly shifting lower, downwardy triangle, channel. And I'm looking in for possible strike on the higher side towards 124.10, 124.15 to possibly go and take a shot on this. So yen dollar could be bullish, but might be time for other pairs, other majors to shed, on the crosses, and yen might just benefit out of it. So it's a small one. It's going to be a small entry out of 124.10, 15, and if I can get it on spike and it gets going, then probably going to lock in soon, and I'll see how it goes from there onwards. But it's quite attractive on a setup because if it holds it, then there's a very high chance of it breaking on the lower side, which brings us back to some of the crosses on Euro. Euro Japanese, for that matter, I illustrated it, in a few of my posts more elaborately. This is a break zone that I'm watching. Maybe I started off from here, 136, 135.90. So come down roughly about 136.00 if it breaks. There's a quite of a fall that can come on this pair. You can see it off here. You can see it off here that T5 135.75. So basically 136 is a break point, and 135.65.70 is where if it falls further under it, it confirms that the 136 has been a good breakout. So I'll expect the price to fall something like that, from here underneath comes down close to 132. But the bigger thing that I'm watching is 129. Maybe unrealistic right now. It looks, too far stretch. But this is a good breakout. The symmetrical triangle breaking on the lower side. Uh, when the euro gap 10 came back all the way, retesting it, tested and fell, and now let's see, gets a bounce back off from, well, put it in a very short way to say 136 is a break point, but not till it drops under 135, 65, 70. It's got a potential to bounce back in because I'm looking at a bigger time frame setup where it says the list is supported somewhere around 65, 70. So that's something that interests me. Uh, View to go is probably, I'm looking to sell under the break. Aggressive, if I go aggressive, I will go close to 137.25. I mean, my aggressiveness would be, or something that, we can look into is at 137. 22, 23, we can leave a small order short and, maybe stop close by and hope that on the NFP just comes and picks it up and then, drops under. If it does, then it could be a very good, trade, especially if the euro is also going down uh, below 10. Let's say it's also trading in below 1.10. So that could be a very good trade setup out there. I'm interested on this pair. I've been trading this pair. Yesterday we had a short 137.20. We covered it nicely. Again, 137.25, 137.30 break can lift the pair towards 138.50, 60, but that's inclining that yen, dollar yen is probably breaking above 124, 20, 25, 30, and then euro is also staying above 1.10 or the listed support we were mentioning. So to an extent, yes, I'm bearish on euro. I'm cautiously bearish now on euro yen and pound. It's a play that I was looking for as of yesterday. It's already done it. It's like this is the point where I can go and look for buys, but would it been an NFP and I just it's tough. It's tough. But this is the channel. This is the median. So maybe one way of play. I mean, I'm not interested in pound at all right now, but one aspect of playing is that has been stalling to this point. This is around 57, 50, sorry, 56.45, 56.50. There could be entries, small entries that you can lay out there in anticipation that get a jerk on the higher side as a spike, false spike up, and then you get an entry and get back. Because anything higher than that, then this can go back, travel all the way to 57.30, which will again imply that the euro is heading back for 11.75, 11.80. So I'll wait on that. It would be easy for me to trade crosses because, sorry, it will be easy for me to trade crosses because apparently regardless of the dollar impact, the crosses more and less they will be they're probably going to stay within their confined zone. So that's one aspect of why I try to go more and more on the crosses. But pound. If I look it from the 4-hour view, then it's already broken down to the resistance, sorry, to the support, and this still is a playable chart where you can expect fallout coming towards 55, 10, 55, 15, and probably here you can initiate some small buys and but buys probably with some tight stops, maybe 20, 25 pips. There's a hint that 55, 10, 15 just might come and just might hold on. That would imply with euro holding towards 109 40 zone. So again, a glimpse of on how dollar does, how dollar goes by. We'll find out. I'm basically, as I said, bullish on the dollar, but at the same time, I'm more cautious, in terms of it's just that euro, pound, other pairs have already fallen, at least putting in new lows. So it would have been nice if they would have done nothing, then probably spikes up, sell shorts. But right now, let's see, what we can get on the process. So Canadian is again one other play that attracts because what I feel is that it's already hit a major resistance. So CAT can probably outperform, especially in terms of maybe not in case if the dollar really goes up, maybe it breaks out, but then might just be a benefactor on the crosses. So that's one reason why we opted to go in short for pound Canadian. And this is the layout overall. I think I did a post on that, explain more in length, but this is one, consider it as a head, left, right shoulder. This is a break of the neck, right? But then now when testing out here, it's becoming again a neck. This becomes the left shoulder, so a drop from here, it's, in the normal aspect, if I'm considering there was no NFP, this is my shot here, and I will try to come and take it as close as to 2450-ish level. So about 200 pips drop. So this is one pair right now that tells me, that is actually telling me that, dollar is probably getting done, because these are one of the setups where it needs to drop in, put it in the right shoulder here, and then probably going to go take off. So we'll see. Apparently, it's a big number games with the NFP. One reason, I mean, I did my trick on the on the Canadian fallout to pound Canadian, because I was interested in the Euro Canadian also, but the level has been too far off. So I've been waiting, I was waiting somewhere around here, T4, basically to 40.25, somewhere around 40.20 is to go in shorting. So I can still probably consider going in shorting on here, but this is the span that I'm looking on Euro Canadian. But so far, what it looks like, Canadian likely to do better than other pairs. The only other pair that can be a usual suspect would be a yen. Probably can come out from nowhere and just probably drops under. So we'll find out. Another 2-3 minutes before we will get hit by NFP. And as per all my webinars before, I will not be bothered looking at the numbers, because I cannot trade those numbers. By the time the number comes in, it's already too late. I'm not that fast, but I'm looking at gold towards, this is the same thing that I shared in last time also. We were trading somewhere around here before it bounced back up. Again, this is a quite interesting long coming trend line. It's been, the price has been staying on the lower side, only briefly, for a brief little before it went back in anyways, latest part and coming back here. And expecting a test towards, another short-term play is like, can leave a buy order for 11.52.53. Again, a small one in anticipation that, you might get a jerk, you might get a, hit and, spike back up. So, I mean, normal location, something, this is something I would have definitely look to go in for a buy, 11.52.53, and no NFP, I would have been buy regardless, and I would have been able to target somewhere around 11.65, 68. So there's enough pipping that can come out here. Once again, of course, I'm not advising, but my expectation is that we'll have some kind of action, some kind of reaction between 11.51, 52. It will at least try to go for some kind of push. Then, depending how strong the numbers were or not, that we'll see the rest. One more minute to go, and I'm sure everybody's excited. I've got some orders already placed out, so I'll see how it goes. In case if I'm going wrong, then we'll find out. And the numbers are already in. Let's see what we got in. Looks like spikes higher. Okay, bounce, euro bounce. That's me. Got a bounce on pound also. Well, I still don't know the number, but could be a selling point out here. It could be. And how it's, this is what I mean, 11:52:53, but this is where you were actually hoping that this comes in, but first you get a spike, that spike that takes you out, takes other people out, the falls in, comes in around here, and then would have gone in anyways. These are the strength of the setups. This is how it gets. You can get to play NFP by leaving some, looking for some NFP by leaving some, looking for some good levels, and place your orders along with that. I want to see how you're on did. You're 40. I had a 45.90. Sorry, I was looking at this level, 45.90, 45.89, 45.90. Yeah, I mean, again, maybe next time we should start NFP, the webinar at least a half an hour earlier, so we can cover in more. This was another one that was basically to leave your entries intact, and small ones, and see how it goes. So these are just the impact, and overall, how I see Euro. Euro is a bit tricky, and it's got good support. It's been bouncing continuously, but let's see. Let's see. I think eventually it needs to go and make it fall somewhere around here to make up his mind, whether he wants to go back up on the higher side or lower side, because it's in a channel between here and there. It's more of a bull channel, and currently stuck within a downward channel, but the main channel is still this. But still, I can expect another turnaround, maybe somewhere around here, 42, here, and then get a bounce back probably towards here. But then that's another story. We're just looking for some short setup, and this is one entry that we have already got picked up. We had orders onto here. Pound cab we were already done, and EJ 137.22. No, that did not come in. UJ we had an order for 124. It did not come in. So which is fine. Which is fine. The whole idea is that NFP could be very volatile. It could be extremely volatile at times, and it can continue going in one direction regardless. The only way to do is that what helps you is the main channels, and what you are looking in terms of prime support, prime resistance, and maybe a little bit of bias along with that helps you. So my key, as I told you earlier, my key is the Swiss franc. So that's mean I might be getting a touchdown here, right? But if it gets touchdown here, that's when the real deal begins. If it's gonna get bounced back up on the higher side, or if it's gonna break in and continue on the lower side. Because breaking in and continuing on the lower side, that's mean I still don't know the numbers, but that would imply the market is ready to go and start selling on the dollar. So this is a trade entry right here, 94, whatever the level is, maybe 94.10, 94.11 impact. You get a bounce back up from here. That's a good buy, and you can look for this 95.30ish as a first impact before continuing over towards 96. So that would be the, yeah, the channel. Still, the channel is still valid and it's still bullish. So probably gonna drop down here, and then let's see how it goes back from here. And these are the same thing that we were discussing. Overall, either we break above this black or we break underneath. So this is quite an expanding channel, and I would assume if the dollar starts dropping from here, it can come all the way down here. That means it can match those earlier lows. So a lot at stake. We'll find out. Swissy will be my guide out here. One other reason why, apparently more than going with major USD pairs, it's easier to go with the crosses because regardless of the dollar outcome, they still stay within their confined zone. Pound Canadian, had it gone back on the higher side, would have been really interested to go short again because, as I said, I'm looking in for somewhere around 95.70 on this move. So these are the benefits of uh, being able to trade high volatile news. But the whole thing is that regardless, the numbers really do not matter. I mean, it does matter, but it does not matter in terms of if one has to go and start, hitting buys or sell based on the numbers, because eventually, regardless how fast system you have, how good of a bandwidth you have got, you always be too late. Then the big firms and the houses who probably have some insight, or they might. I suspect that they might be getting, maybe a few seconds edge on pulling triggers. Excuse me. So uh, what we can do as a trader, what we can do is pinpoint our ground, pinpoint our levels, and out of 7, 8, 9, 10 entries, you would have a good feeling on one or two or three pairs, and it being a big news event. Just throw in you know, small orders. Let's say if you trade your regular order is 100K, maybe what you can do out here on NFP is, and let's say your 100K entry goes with 30 pips stop loss and maybe 50 or 60 pips of profit limit. What you can do on NFP is probably you can do the whole 100, but what you can do is split the order into, let's say, instead of 100, you go 30, 35, 0.35, or, sorry, instead of 100K, you go 30 or 35K. So you got option to go at least 2 or 3 pairs that would equal to 100K, and maybe use about, a little bit more cushion on the stop loss, maybe 40, 45 pips, because of the whipsaw, because of the widening of the spread, you don't want to stop out prematurely and then see the price going in your direction. So these are things that we can do. I was looking for New Zealand also, uh, 60 something. Yeah, it's been ever since broken down here. It's been, it's been straight line down, and was looking for was looking for 66.30ish, and I'm actually still looking for. Maybe it comes on here. Well, now I don't think so. I'll do anything on this pair. It's just been. I'll wait for a break on the higher side to maybe start buying on that. But then, I'm not going to go and find and start digging in where the low is coming on this pair. It can drop in some more. But Euro, I'm glad it worked out, and I'm sorry I could not cover it a bit uh, earlier. But this was a good point to go in short. And of course, I'm not looking in for any 100 pips, 200 pips, of course, unless it just wants to go and go and go. Otherwise, I'm just looking in for anything, 30, 40, 50 pips is good enough, and go for a grab and, do it out. I don't expect too much coming in tomorrow in terms of US going to be off. But this was a good hint out here on Aussie, that also probably, it's on support to an extent that I was looking to go and short euro, a bit on the higher side, because well, I think it's coming down one more time to the lower side. it still needs to come down for 75, 70, 75, 70-ish anyway. So I still haven't seen the numbers, and my guess is that the dollar still can rise and can go in for, you know, can go in for the break. So this is one test looming out here. The same thing on the 4 hours. Yeah. So let's see. It's more or less. It's so far what I can feel is that it's a dead NFP. It's not much of an impact because yeah, it's not much of an impact right now. Maybe we got a whole day. It's only been 10, 11 minutes into the NFP, but let's see. Susi 9410, 9400, 9410. That's a defining zone. At least you'll get to know what dollar is up to. Uh, Still not been able to hit the 45.50. I still prefer pound heading down somewhere around 55.15, 55, 55.10, 55.15, and euro. Well, still plenty to go by, and actually, all right, NZD chart. I think I'm late on that, but I think I did cover. There's not, there's definitely not much happening on this pair, and you know, just that, even if it's to find the bottom, it needs to come and, at least hit one, hit here and then, hit couple more before, puts up a base before it goes back up. So if you're short, then I think you're sitting pretty healthy. If otherwise, I think it's coming down on the lower side. Let's see what we can get on other time frame. Okay, maybe my 4 hour just came on a support. Yeah, my 4 hour just came on a support. And again, this has been a long, this is an old chart, so temporarily, yeah, might get a bounce back up and then, can swing back here, but uh, it's trapped. It's trapped. It can probably, it's showing in descending red, so let's see. Well, 67.40-ish, that would be your defining moment out there for the long side if you're long. I still favor, well, 4 hours did come on to support, so I'll be cautious, but try not to find bottom on this pair because by the time we were trying to short it and it never was going down. Okay, yeah, short-term play. That's what this is a good short-term play, regardless. Should have seen it earlier. Yeah. But it can. It's been dropping and dropping, and yeah, I think it can. I fairly think it can go down to as low as 64, 64 and change. But there does seem to be support coming up out here, and I think another dip lower towards 66.30ish would not be a bad idea to go, trying along on this pair. I'm think I'm pretty much done out here. Try to speed through things compared to other times, try to cover in more and more pair. So anybody's got any question, uh, I'll try to answer it. Anyone? So maybe I was kind of really hoping 137.20 is grabbing for a short side, so but probably have to go and look for maybe adding upon on the break. Anybody has got any question? Thing is that I'm fasting, and I'll be leaving shortly for our side. So that's why one reason I want to wrap it up a bit earlier today. So once again, if anybody's got any question, I would love to take it and see, how uh, can I would like to respond it as clearly as possible. My expectation on NFP, I don't even look at the numbers, so it really, if I cannot trade those numbers, uh, it's not for me. News like NFP, news like rate decisions, uh, FOMC, it's all about picking your point and leaving your orders in, and then and by leaving order in means I like to see a spike coming down to it, and give me an entry within the first 5 minutes, and not all the time. Not all the time, not that it goes and fake out to one side and then the price starts shooting, or coming back on the reversal side. I don't want the entry that at that time, because that's not what I had in mind. So uh, first 5, 6, 7 minutes, that's the best entry time that I can get into onto my desired level, and then see how the market goes from there onwards. You're welcome, Marina. Well, with that, unless somebody got any requests to do any pair, I can still do another 10, 12 minutes, so I wouldn't mind that. As I told you, I rushed things in because compared to the last time, we did not cover too many pairs, or, only a couple of pairs before the NFP was breaking out. So either we do a half an hour earlier on the webinar, or, I speed things up to cover as many as many pairs as possible. Pound odd, sure. Pound odd. All right. If I have to do anything on the pound odd right now, probably gonna, if what I'll do is probably gonna be looking at this. Yeah. Well, to me right now, it's more or less in a no man's land. Basically, if I was not a buy here, or probably buy around to this zone, always somewhere around 206, 20ish, 30ish, my guess, to probably go in short out there. What I see is that let's say let's say if I skip the whole price action to the left of this, like this. So what I see is that I see almost double head zone of the left shoulder. This could be your right shoulder zone right here, and this could be your neckline right here. So, I mean, it's not actually, but I'm just giving you an example that, if you take all the price action to the left side of these bars, which I've done, then this is what it comes in. So nevertheless, that's a pattern that's coming in. So with that in mind, I'll be more inclined to uh, let the pair, if I want to do something, probably going to wait for 206.15, 206.20, and then, I can try and short that at least, for a series, even, let's for the, you know, for the example part, let's just take it that this is a double head inverse head and shoulder. So that's mean if it comes, this is a neckline, it needs to retrace back to, to put in a proper right shoulder out here. So you got a pretty good band to play here, and then probably can, if it gets a bounce off back from 204, 30ish, 50ish, then you can try to go back long in anticipation that it's going to break this zone, and you know go maybe another 300 pips on the higher side. So that's what I'll do. I mean, I don't have a play on this pair at the present here, but yeah, on my 8 hours also, if you were not able to buy here, then uh, you know, then be waiting, at least for another 100 pips on the higher side. in 4 hours. Yeah, I'll wait for the basically I'll wait some on the higher side, 206, 20ish, 30ish. That's the level again. I mean, I'm not saying it cannot dip on the lower side. It could probably come down here, but then on a proper play out here, uh, there are high chances that it might just go on the higher side, unless there's a different story saying on a 30 minutes chart. Uh, Firstly, this is quite choppy. This pair has been choppy all over, but yeah, to me this is a no man's land, right around to these levels. Best is to best is to wait it out. Best is to wait it out. At least somewhere close to this peak at least. Sorry, this peak at least. So otherwise, I'm hesitant. It's just too wide of a gap. Uh, it's just been too choppy to get something proper on that. Yeah, the only deal would have been, somewhere around here. If you would have gone in for a buy, you would have been in, better chances. Otherwise, I'll wait for 20, 30ish out there. I'm sorry if that's not what you wanted to hear out there, but then, that's, I'm only showing you what I'm seeing right now. Not clear on odd ear odd. Okay. Firstly, only looking in for a short-term trade. I know this looks very messy. Let me clear things off. You know, this is what the whole setup is basically. In short, it's just that we are making a mess and mockery of the price action to this zone, and I'll tell you what the reason is for that. But this is what I'm basically looking for. I'm looking for a systematic decline on the pair, which is not happening, which is not coming. But I was kind of hoping for that. I've been short a few times. It's just that it's playing with my patience. But the reason for it to be I mean, a signal down in black, color is just that this is something that to me is that main, coming to the downside. So it'll be the main support I hear. So eventually, I'm hoping maybe staying underneath to 47.50. It comes down somewhere around 41 or whatever this handle is, and then show me what it can do. But trade assumption was this is a resistance trend line. You got another trend line which became a break-in trend line also, and the whole formation was a wedge. So we broke wedge, right? So that's mean the direction is turning to the lower side. It came back testing it, the same kind of test that I'm hoping for 94.10, 94, whatever, 9400, 94.10 on Swiss franc against the dollar, a retest, and then it was able to take out this low. So this low came in into, if you just do this, so it's a declining support. Nevertheless, it's a support. But one of the assumption of, one of the trademarks of declining supports are there, is that let's say on a confirmed trend line like 1, 2, third test, if they bounce, they actually bounce pretty decently. I mean, this was exceptionally decent, move coming all the way back up to this, but a failure nevertheless. failed failed to go past towards it, declined. But now what we're having is a higher high and a higher low. Again, a high and a higher low. Again, if this is a high here, then we'll have a lower high, and we'll see where the next low comes. And if it drops in underneath here, I expect the price to come in here uh, towards there. So basically, what I was geared up, I was biased. I was more biased, short on this pair, and I was looking for an optimum zone to sell. And this to me was looking decent, staying within below this two, retrace marks. So I'll take a chance from here. Start out with first 40, 56, 40, 50 pips, bank about half of my lot size, and then put a stop somewhere around here, and see if you can continue on the lower side. What I'm trying to say is that price either needs to break above this point, which is a breakout trend line, or below this trend line for this target. But since we came out of a wedge, we already tested, we already put a new low, and then we did not come and meet back on the same trend line. Tells me that the momentum can still stay persist for the lower side. So I just need to pick a point, a prime point where I can go for a sell. And to be honest, we were sell 45.60. We cut it off at 45.62, 63, and we saw it going on the higher side. And then we were like place our order 45.89. So that's where we shot from. Well, I know I've got some guys already taking care of the trade. So the first 50 pips we are out on that, and small portion on a I made it stop, and we're seeing if we can come below these two tops. So yeah, my bias is on the lower side. I could be wrong, but then but again, I'm gonna trade setup where I've taken some and see if I can get more without getting hurt. So I hope that clears up. But if you probably was thinking in terms of euro, oh sorry, in terms of me going against the pound odd, then yes, one assumption is that if the pound goes on the higher side, then there are higher chances that euro will be tracking on the same zone. So yeah, I mean, I'm with an open mind too. I mean, the same play on euro odd compared to pound odd. If they just go proportional, then we are back up to 47. 47.40ish, 47.50ish, probably 47.60ish. I'm not ignoring on those lines. I'm just saying this is a safe play for me, a safe position to try immense stops and see if we can go the distance. Otherwise, I know I'm going to be stopped out, but that's fine. You're welcome. Anything else? I'm more interested in just the margin for this pair is too much. Otherwise, this is one of the good level that's coming in. That means euro might be on the track for 11.75. Oh, euro is not doing anything. What about the pound? Anyways, I told you my bias is on a strong dollar, and I would put like 80-85% chance that if it's Stryker here, you get a bounce on the Swiss franc. So, I just see it so many times, all the time, basically. Few rare occasion where it fails. Otherwise, mostly big news or no news really does not matter, because if it did not have to go on the higher side, I would have waited for the NFP and not break it yesterday, but apparently it did. So hopefully we'll see 96 and a change within next week on Swissig. So anybody, anything else? Well, I thank you for all your time. Thank you for your, I know I started a few minutes late. Thank you for your patience, and hope you enjoyed the webinar. The only concept here was, uh, to show that regardless of